Today I'll be visiting a Buddhist temple in Khon Kaen called Wat Wong Wang. Basically it means the old temple, or temple in the old town. I'll be referring to it as Wat Tat for the rest of this video. According to Wikipedia, followers of Buddhism comprise 90 to 94% of the Thai people. There is no officially sanctioned state religion, however, but Buddhism is promoted. Thai law guarantees protection for all religious creeds, and the population is largely tolerant of all belief systems. Other religions need not hide their expressions nor prostrations. As a matter of fact, you would think that the country was largely Christian, walking around any major mall in the country during Christmas time. Snowmen, Santas, reindeer, along with Christmas trees are ubiquitous in public locations. Cafes, restaurants, even public parks will display celebrations of Christmas, and the celebrations and decorations sometimes will stay up for quite a few weeks after the new year. This is strictly secular and expresses more of a spirit of celebration in general, or if you want to be cynical, it's companies just jumping on the train and trying to make a buck, or a bot, basically. It is not an indication of religious conversion. The country is staunchly Buddhist and religiously tolerant. Now, a few things to keep in mind. You should not wear depictions of the Buddha on your clothing. Yes, you can find Buddha t-shirts in major malls like MBK, and there isn't some religious police walking around handing out tickets or anything like that. It's just insensitive. I'm not sure if the billboard is still up, but there was one up for years. Once you passed a Suvarnabhumi airport, like if you're flying in, once you passed the Suvarnabhumi airport headed towards the city on Rama 9, there was this big billboard on the right-hand side that basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, that the Buddha is not fodder for entertainment. So if they see it fit to remind visitors of this, then it's obviously something they are sensitive to. Either way, err on the side of respect. It's not a lot to ask for. Also, there is a law forbidding the exportation of Buddhist relics out of the country. I'm not sure what this applies to, as back when I could tolerate wearing jewelry on my skin, I wore an amulet around my neck and a gold chain and could enter and exit the country at will. This is probably just a way to prevent the depletion of relics. After all, the dearth of mummies in Egypt was largely due to the Victorian-era British upper class importing mummies into their country, the United Kingdom. I read somewhere once that mummies were believed to be good for health or luck or something like that, and this was the very popular thing to do in Great Britain at the time. Either way, they were taken out of Egypt, and they were done so in consequential numbers. The religious relic ban in Thailand is probably more about preserving culture than a reflection of religiosity. Needless to say, this country is steeped in belief. Its citizens are not just born into the creed via birthright, but somewhat indoctrinated through ritual and tradition. So much so that it's not unusual to see most of your Thai friends wying to a temple or a Chedi or a spirit house when they pass by. The spirit houses are actually part of an animist belief and ties incorporate aspects of animism and Hinduism into their Theravadan variant of Buddhism. About 100 years after the Tathagata had passed, the religion experienced a schism into two sects. The Mahayana, which comprises like Zen Buddhism, Kadampa Buddhism, Chan Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism. Basically, almost all of Buddhism falls under the Mahayana sect. When you're dealing with numbers and percentages, it's the biggest one. It's the vast majority of the people in the world are Mahayana. However, the other sect, Theravadan, is pretty much the traditional variant, and that's what Thais are. I could go on and on, video after video, about the differences and the reasons for the schism, but it's important to think of them as disagreements in focus and approach, and not so much some internal conflict or war. The Theravadan focuses on disease and the cure via a wisdom-based approach, where the Mahayana focuses on compassion and other approaches that will eventually kind of cure the disease. The disease, of course, is the circle of life, death, rebirth, and all things that are tied to that. It's important also to point out that the underlying principles and beliefs are the same in the Mahayanas and the Theravadan Buddhists, and these two sects would have more in common with each other than, say, Catholic Catholics and Mormons would. More ubiquitous than any depiction of Santa Claus are temples and chedis, of course, which, I mean, this is Thailand, which can be seen throughout the country. Every city, every village will have temples in it. Chiang Mai boasts so many that if your objective is to visit the temples in the city when you go there, you'd need a long, hot season to do so. Khon Kaen has fewer temples than Chiang Mai to boast of, and none date back as far as some of the Chiang Mai temples, but it does have some beautiful ones to take note of. This Wat Tat, isn't actually that old, having been established in 1789, which is the same year that Khon Kaen was established as a city, while other famous temples in Thailand like Wat Tat and Doi Satep in Chiang Mai, they date all the way back to the 1300s. This particular temple that I'm visiting is the smaller, quieter one in comparison to the more famous Wat Wong Wang, which is just a quick walk to the south, by the way. Although Khon Kaen does have several beautiful temples scattered throughout and around the city, this one is one of the most revered, though not the most famous. This stems from the locals believing that the central Chedi on the grounds bestows good luck and charisma to those who pray inside it. And the good luck and charisma is actually written in Thai above the entrance to that Chedi when you're going in there to make the prayer, by the way. This temple also isn't as busy, despite the grounds being very well kept clean and, well, gorgeous. I've seen different sources post different operating hours around the internet from 8 a.m. to like 4, 5, 6 p.m. But I took a photo just to prove that it is 6 p.m. when this place does close. There isn't an entry fee, but there are several places on the grounds to donate. You must remove your shoes upon entering the Chedi and the temple. Though not the largest temple, it does feel quite substantial, even cavernous inside the temple, and the tapestry hung in the entrance above the door is just beautiful, and it feels huge. The location of Wat Tat couldn't be more convenient if you're into walking. The location is just south of Fairyland Plaza, or the old mall, the Innovation Center, Ruan Ram Road Walking Street, and the Ruan Ram Road Walking Street actually has a lot of different places of entertainment for the night. You know, if you like to go to bars, if you like to go to cafes, late night restaurants, there's all sorts of stuff there to keep you entertained. Now, the Ruan Ram Road Walking Street isn't as big as the Ton Tan Night Market or the Walking Street on Saturday nights that it's a little bit north of here. However, it is known as the great place to go and eat. There are tables all up and down that street. With regards to this temple, just across the street on the back side of the temple is Buon Kang Nakhon Public Park, which has an exercise sidewalk surrounding a little lake and a night market on the north side within walking distance. A green songtao and public bus services actually run up and down Buon Klang Road, which is on the west side of the temple. The west side of the temple is basically known as the front end of the temple, even though most people enter it through the back end. The day that I visited could not be more perfect. I mean, December days in Khon Kaen are relatively mild. Today was only 24 degrees with a nice breeze. The sky was like a deep cobalt blue. I mean, postcard perfect, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much, everyone.